Fort Worth, Texas, a wonderful city for natives and tourists alike. Come with us as we dive into the cultural, educational, and good old times that is Fort Worth. Our first stop was at the Fort Worth Stockyards with radio expert Bobby G.
This thing was pretty big back in the day. Along this strip right here, these cowboys would drive the steers up from South Texas. And they'd get paid off and they'd go up to the other end and gamble, spend their money on women and stuff like that. And then they'd get broke and they'd have to go back to South Texas and drive them back up here again.
What kind of leisure activities can you do at the Stockyards?
Shop. There's plenty of shopping. Incredible races. They got the mechanical bull right there. On the weekends we have pony rides. We have carriage rides, stagecoach rides. During the week you can always get on the steer and get your photo.
Do you have a petting zoo?
Yes we do. It's in the tent right there.
Awesome.
Also, a lot of people, it's kind of like off the beaten path. But if you go down to our stables down there, we have the finest stables in the world. Last week we had the Budweiser horses in. We've had all three teams of the Budweiser horses in here in the last year. We have horseback riding, rides along the old Chisholm Trail. You go over to River Ranch. You know where River Ranch is? Along the Trinity River. They have the Pawnee Bill Wild West show here on the weekends and the rodeo every Friday and Saturday night. You got Billy Bob's Texas right behind this building here, and all the honky tonks. There's a lot of talented people come down here and sing and play music. They have a cattle drive here, which is the big attraction here that happens twice daily at 11:30 and 4 o'clock.
Do you think that the Stockyards has impacted the community positively?
Absolutely. And it impacts the communities around here. Like the Grapevine train comes in here. You heard the train that come in just a while ago. They bring a lot of business in here, and it's economically, when Cherry has the football games over at Arlington, they all come over here to the Stockyards.
So it's like a tourist site.
Yeah, and everybody wants to be a cowboy, whether they say it or not. You just got to be brave enough to put the cowboy hat on.
After getting to know the Stockyards, we made our way down to the Modern Art Museum to see what kind of culture Fort Worth had in store for us.
How long have you been working at the Modern?
Since May of 2002, so I guess that puts me at about 11 years.
That's a very long time. Do you know when the museum was founded?
The museum was actually founded in 1892. The current building that we're in right now was opened in December of 2002. So the museum's a little over 120 years old.
When you say museum, is that like all the museums in Fort Worth?
No, we're actually a separate museum. Our museum is its own 501c3 nonprofit. Each of the museums kind of operate on their own. They have their own board of directors and their own kind of governance and staff.
How has the Modern transformed the culture of Fort Worth?
Well, the Modern originally started in 1892 as a kind of collector's. It was part of the library, and so the library was founded at the same time, and they opened a gallery inside the library. And that essentially was the beginning of Fort Worth's relationship with the arts. So we could kind of say that we started the trend of having museums in Fort Worth. One of the interesting things happened in 2002 when we built this building. We kind of fleshed out the cultural district, and because of that, a lot of the businesses that you see down on 7th Street around the cultural district started to recognize that this was a viable investment. And so when you go to the movies at Movie Tavern, you can kind of thank the Modern.
As an employee of an educational landmark, how has the museum shaped how kids perceive art?
We have a lot of really great education programs that help foster kids' interest in art. And so we really do try and encourage school groups to come to the museum. We try and offer as many art classes and programs, and also as many free programs as we can. We also offer a student discount, students to come see the work, and so it provides an opportunity, I think, for local children and local students to really experience world-class art.
What's your favorite part about the museum?
My favorite part about the museum is probably coming to work every day. It's never the same. You know, everybody here really is committed to the organization, and so we all have really interesting conversations and are really committed to making the museum the best that it can be.
Are there any cool facts or tidbits you've experienced or heard about the Modern?
It was really neat to meet Chuck Close. He's a portrait artist. He's really spectacular. Japanese ambassador came to the museum a couple years ago. We've had dignitaries. And it's just an interesting place to work.
So the museum is seen as a beacon for education. Do you feel like you've impacted the learning community positively?
I really do. I think that because of our education department, they have a very strong commitment to really engaging and providing very in-depth and valuable programs. And so without that, I don't think that the arts community would have as much resources as it does today. You know, especially in Fort Worth, the kind of programs that we provide really provide a service to our community. So.
From the Modern, we went to the Fort Worth Library to talk education.
When was the Fort Worth Library founded?
Well, the Fort Worth Library Association was founded in 1892. It was founded in the home of a woman named Jenny Schuber, who later became a librarian for the Fort Worth Library.
How has the library transformed the culture of Fort Worth?
One thing that we have done in terms of transforming the culture, first of all, we've increased literacy. That's an obvious answer. We're increasing literacy here. But another way is by offering a variety of services for people for their professional development, for example. Like one of the things that we do is we offer GED classes for people who have never graduated from high school. We have GED classes if they want to get their GED. Or we offer free computer classes here. We have a facility called the eSkills Center, which is out in East Fort Worth. It used to be in the Meadowbrook branch. But they have all kinds of services there for people who want to get a jump start on their career. So that's one way we transform the culture.
So as an employee of an educational landmark, how has the library shaped the education of kids throughout the years? Through what programs?
Well, one thing that they do is, of course, they promote early literacy. And one way to do it is they offer something called story time at the Children's Library. It's called the Hazel Harvey Peace Center, which is located here in the Central Library. So that's one program that they offer in order to promote early literacy.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What is your favorite part about the library?
My favorite part of the library are the old photographs. That's an easy one. We have some old photographs here in the archives section, and it's amazing because you look at photographs like 30, 40, even 50 years ago, and by looking at them, you realize how much the city has really changed over the years.
The library is seen as a beacon for education. Do you feel like you've impacted the community positively?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Especially during the period, like in the let's say around 2008. That's when the economy started falling apart. For example, people were getting laid off, and all of a sudden, people have discovered not just the Fort Worth Library, but public libraries in general. For example, discovered, hey, we have all these resources available. You can check out books rather than buy books, for example. And I remember in that period where a lot of people who discovered that they needed some kind of, like say, computer experience if they want to get a job, because a lot of companies these days, if you want to apply for a job, instead of the old paper application, they want you to do it by computer. And people realize, I don't have any computer knowledge, so guess what? They come to the Fort Worth Library, for example, and of course we have like 45 public turnables here that they can get on, and of course either look for a job or work on their computer skills. And of course I mentioned earlier about the computer classes we have here. here. So yeah, I think we've had a definite change in the community. Yes. Okay.
After all this talk on education, we went down to the children's section of the library for some much-deserved story time.
Once upon a time, there lived a little girl named Goldilocks who was very, very good.
Our last stop took us into the square to get a local's take on the nightlife.
What's your favorite part about downtown?
It's got a great square that has a lot of shopping and restaurants, and it's really open and lit up at night and makes the downtown really exciting.
There you have it, folks. Fort Worth. Words.